Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Totally Awesome Podcast. Podcast so bad it'll make you tap out. My name is JoshAgeddon, and today I'm joined with Jeffrey Albritton from Shock Nation Wrestling. What's up, Jeffrey?
What it do? Glad to be back here.
Yeah, I think that we've had you on the live streams before, but this is the first time you've been on the podcast. And just to let you know, as the thing suggests, it's the worst podcast of all time. So,
Really?
yeah, I mean, I imagine there's some really bad ones out there, but it's the gimmick. I've trademarked it. If there's a worse one out there, I will sue.
I guess.
That is gimmick infringement. So we are gathered here today to discuss WrestleMania 38. What were your thoughts on the show?
Day one definitely kicked Day two's ass. That's all I gotta say.
I did not very much care for Day one, and then I watched Day two, and let's say I was even less impressed. When all things were said and done, in my opinion, this is one of the worst WrestleManias I've ever watched.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of up there. But Cody versus Seth kind of saved it, and then the main event for Day one actually caught me off guard, but it kind of delivered. So I was like, oh shit, they're actually going to put on a decent match.
Well, we'll get to those matches when we get to them, because we are going to go match by match and just give our thoughts. And I may or may not have some controversial takes. So we are kicking things off with a bunch of cheerleaders for some reason. I didn't get it. Did you understand the cheerleaders at all?
No.
There were so many things on this show where I was just like, why is this happening? For starters, okay, right out the gate, they call this WrestleMania Saturday, and we're starting with night one, because that's what it should be called, not WrestleMania Saturday and not WrestleMania Sunday. Even something as basic as this, it's night one and night two.
Mm-hmm.
This company can't do anything right, which will be a theme throughout the show. But the first match of the night was the Usos defending the SmackDown Tag Team titles against Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs. Okay. Right off the bat, the first match, and I'm already upset. I am so done with Rick Boogs.
What?
I told you I was going to have some controversial takes.
I actually like Rick Boogs. It's like a modern day Bruno Sammartino, in my opinion. So,
okay. Wow, that is. I don't get it. That'll just say the least. I do not get it. But he really didn't get to show much, and he got tagged in and immediately injured himself.
Yeah, he kind of fucked up his knee.
Yeah, and then they immediately had to go to the finish, and this match went 6 minutes. And you could tell that as soon as he injured himself, they were booking it to get to the finish.
Honest to God, I thought he had faked it for a second. Like, oh shit, he actually got injured.
He tore his quad, and it's going to require surgery.
Yep, that's 6 to 8 months.
Yep. So he tried to. He's not that strong, despite all of his muscles. Because at the Royal Rumble, which was one of his first matches on TV, he tried to do a military press on someone out of the ring and dropped the guy. And now he tries to do a pick up two people at the same time power spot, and his knee explodes.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, I think those muscles are just for show. I think your body's trying to tell us something, Rick Boogs. And all I could think during this is Shinsuke Nakamura deserves better.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when he won the Royal Rumble?
And look what...
And now he's in a tag team where he is the least interesting person.
I'm like this. If they were going to do this to Shinsuke should just went back to New Japan.
Yeah.
How much money are they paying this guy?
I don't know, but it's sad. And I am so over the Usos at this point. I've seen too much of them, and I hate that they're using the 3D now. But,
yeah, that was kind of like, why?
But it's because everyone has kicked out of the Uso Splash. The Uso Splash is dead. It's to the point where if someone actually gets pinned by the Uso Splash, it'll be like, really? It was just one Uso Splash? So they had to come up with a new finish that would be believable to end matches, but they're not even using like an original move. They're using a 3D, and they're calling it the 1D because that's also stupid.
Hold up. So if someone's kicked out of the double loose?
Yep.
Damn.
Yep. Everyone has kicked out of everything, which is a trend that will continue into the next match. So, yeah, the first match, like, you knew this show was going to go oh so well when the first match is Rick Boogs injured and Nakamura floundering, and the Usos winning with a move that's not even theirs.
Yeah, that wasn't even a good start.
Bad start.
Bad start.
And then things got worse. Because our next match was Drew McIntyre versus Baron Corbin, and I'm not calling him Happy Corbin because I am not an actual toddler.
Thank God.
Speaking of people who deserve better, this man was WWE Champion twice.
I mean, as much as I do not like Corbin, I'm glad this matchup held its own. Because it's like, I was expecting this matchup to be over in like 35 seconds.
Honestly,
at best.
I would have been happy if this was over in 30 seconds. Because if you've seen one Baron Corbin match, you've seen them all.
Exactly.
Because he does the same thing the exact same way. Couple punches, a shove, deep six. He yells, "Shut up!" at the crowd. It's the same.
Let's not forget about that clothesline he does almost every 7 matches.
Oh my God. Every time he leaves the ring to do that spin around into the clothesline, it is so goofy and contrived. Like, we were pushing it with the Dean Ambrose wacky line. Remember when they called it the wacky line?
The wacky line. And then Kyle O'Reilly used it. I'm like, shit.
Kyle O'Reilly did it better.
Kind of, yeah. You're right.
Because Dean Ambrose is not the most athletic human being on the planet. Or I guess Jon Moxley now. But, and then, the one thing about Baron Corbin, the one thing, is no one has ever kicked out of the End of Days.
Until now.
And then Drew McIntyre kicked out of the End of Days. Because everyone has to kick out of a finisher in every single WrestleMania match now. And I was like, well, now that's dead.
Yep.
I hate, the more this match went on, the angrier I got. Because, like, honestly, I was more impressed with, this whole time, this whole feud, I've been impressed with Madcap Moss. He has a death gimmick and a stupid name, but he's actually had really good matches with Drew McIntyre.
Oh, wait till they split them apart.
By the way, did you see what happened to him at the Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia when Drew McIntyre almost paralyzed the poor guy?
Oh my God.
Jesus, he almost Big E Langstoned him with that Alabama slam.
Speaking of which, wishing him a speedy recovery.
Yeah, wishing Big E.
Anybody.
Yeah, wishing Big E a speedy recovery, because that also was grotesque. And Ridge Holland needs to go back to the Performance Center. Because his 2 most recent televised matches was him getting his face crushed by Ricochet, and then him almost crushing Big E's next.
Wow.
Starting to become a trend.
Pretty much.
And then, okay. One of the 2 reasons why I just largely hated this show, both this show and the one the next night, is the just over-reliance, the sheer amount of celebrity influence on this show. I don't even like it when there's like one match with a celebrity. There were several throughout this WrestleMania, and that's what kind of made this entire show feel kind of lifeless, because WWE has no stars. This was the first.
They have stars. They just don't know how to use them.
That is true. Well, the only ones they know how to use or even care about is Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get to that. So we had The Miz versus Logan Paul. Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. Okay.
A real boxer and The Miz versus the Mysterios. I'm not calling him Logan Paul anymore.
And Jake Paul was actually on the pre-show. When Logan Paul is the least infuriating of the bunch.
Surprisingly.
You know what would have been funny? Please, for sheer irony, just because it would make me laugh, have Logan Paul wrestle a match in New Japan. You know why. Please, Tokyo Dome. Dave Meltzer would give it 5 stars. He would give it 5. And make it a ladder match so there'll be something hanging in the middle of the ring.
What's he gonna hang in the middle of the ring, bro?
And now we've been demonetized.
Oh, good God.
But the funniest thing, Logan Paul was the most fun to watch person in this match of all 4 people. He's such a hateable human being, and he knows it. And he played it up. Like, he's a good heel. I mean, he's not a wrestler, clearly. But he had the crowd so angry. Like, my fiance, who doesn't even really watch wrestling at all, she was so mad every time the camera was on him. And she did not give a shit about anyone else that was in the ring. She just wanted him to lose. And I will say, he had a wacky power slam where you could tell he couldn't quite tell what he was doing. But I like the idea of a flying, jumping power slam.
Mm-hmm.
It looked more devastating.
Braun Strowman ever did.
It looks more. I was about to say it looks more devastating than Braun Strowman's power slam. By the way, did you know that Braun Strowman is trying to create his own wrestling company called Control Your Narrative?
Wow.
With EC3. And EC3 is also trying to start a nutrition company called Control Your Nutrition. None of what I'm saying is a joke.
I'm going to have to look this up after this podcast.
It is the actual worst.
As a matter of fact, I'm looking it up now.
And also, EC3 has shaved his head and he has a mustache, and he just looks... He looks like Shane from The Walking Dead.
Oh, God.
He actually looks like a lunatic.
He wasn't before?
That is true. But this was basically a nothing match. I mean, of course, 2 of the people in the match, one is a guy who is super green in Dominic Mysterio, and the other guy is not even a wrestler. So I was like, please, for the love of God, don't have Logan Paul and Dominic Mysterio in the ring together. So what did WWE do? They had Logan Paul and Dominic Mysterio in the ring together several times.
Yeah, because they don't listen to their fan base. Like, this is what we get.
Yeah. And surprise, surprise, it was not very good. And then, okay, this is something that, shout out to the Court Martial podcast, my friend Sean McCarty, the Colonial Champion. He is so over all the Eddie Guerrero tributes on every wrestling show, because every time someone hits a frog splash, someone's like, hey, Eddie Guerrero used to do that.
Yeah, no shit.
When they started doing the Three Amigos over and over and over, I could sense Sean's soul just dying from all the way over in Connecticut.
Thank God I was too drunk to just not notice half of this cringy shit. But it's
and then Logan Paul started doing the Three Amigos, and I just started laughing.
Wow. And
the worst part is that he was doing the Three Amigos better than Dominic was. Like, he did a semi-decent hip rotation, whereas Dominic was just like, it was like he was kipping up.
Uh-huh.
Because Dominic does not have hips to rotate, I guess. That's going to bite him whenever he has a girlfriend. Anyway. And then The Miz won by pinning Rey Mysterio, and then he gave the Logan Paul a skull-crushing finale for literally no reason.
It made no sense!
Like, he turned heel on the heel.
Heel? What?
You can't turn heel on a heel and still be a heel.
I mean, you kind of can. It's just...
It's not recommended, because it makes me say the word heel 34 times in a sentence.
Mm-hmm.
So, at this point, I was 0-3, and I had already given up on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Because we had an injury, Happy Corbin, and Logan Paul. So I was already done. I was already tapping out. And then we had Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair for the WWE Raw Women's Championship. What did you think of this match?
I was expecting it to flop, but it didn't do as bad as the other Women's Championship match.
Oh, we will get to that.
We'll get to that later.
I thought that this was okay, but they had a much better match at Extreme Rules. Although that match ended via disqualification. Which right there, my name's WWE, and we're going to have a pay-per-view called Extreme Rules, and we're going to have a disqualification on it.
Yeah, like, good job, Kevin Dunn.
Thank you, everyone involved, thank you. Oh, and by the way, multiple times during each match, like, he would just randomly cut. There were so many times, both nights, where he would cut to the crowd mid-pinfall. So we would miss the kick out, because Kevin Dunn sucks at his job. Like, if you took a shot every time someone went for a pinfall, and the camera cut to the audience at the 2, you'd die of alcohol poisoning.
Yeah, I was actually doing a drinking game on WrestleMania night 1. I didn't do it night 2 because I couldn't afford it.
No. What was the drinking game? I'm curious.
Shit. I think this was mostly on the Charlotte match.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Every time there's a shitty moonsault, just chug.
Yep.
Oh, we will get to that. We will get to that because it was a crime against humanity. But yeah, back to Becky Lynch and Bianca. Again, this was okay. It was kind of sloppy at points. Like, there was a part where she tried to do some kind of Rana or something, and they both just kind of fell over, and the only reason why the spot wasn't completely botched is because Bianca is absurdly powerful.
Yeah.
Which was impressive, but you could kind of tell that they were kind of falling over. And there was a part which actually made me laugh. Bianca is, like, leaning over the top rope, and Becky does her leg drop to the back of the head. And when they land, Bianca lands right on Becky's head. And I was just, oh, I bet that sucked. I mean, she barely made contact with Bianca's head in the first place off that leg drop.
Is Botchamania still a thing?
They are going to have so much ammunition after this show. Especially when we get to Bobby Lashley and Omos. And I have some things to say about that match.
Oh, no.
But, yeah, so, like, Bianca lands right on Becky's head, and I'm just like, this is not that great. And then things picked up a little, until Becky Lynch tried to do a Molly go-round, and nearly put her heel through Oh, my God. She nearly put her heel through Bianca's eye socket.
I'm gonna need Becky to never do that again.
And have you seen pictures of Bianca since Mania? She had, her eye is swollen shut. And it looks bad.
Bro, yeah.
And they showed replays. Bianca's lucky she didn't lose one of her eyes. That was really, really bad.
Yeah, like, the orbital socket, Axe Austin Aries.
Oh yeah, Christopher Daniels. He had his orbital bone broken, and his eye is still, like, red. And it looks gross. And that was months ago. But Bianca somehow, she was a trooper and she finished the match, and I am legitimately stunned that she won.
Damn.
Because
I'm looking at it right now.
It looks gnarly.
Yeah, it looks disgusting.
Yeah, poor Bianca. Poor Bianca. But she won the match. She got revenge for losing like a chump at SummerSlam, which, again, never should have happened. It was very embarrassing. But, hey, she got her win back. She finally got the Raw Women's title, and Becky Lynch got her first pinfall defeat in, 3 years?
I believe so.
If only the match was better. And Bianca didn't lose an eyeball. This wasn't even... This was an eyeball match that didn't even involve Seth Rollins, so... Do you remember that?
We don't talk about that. No.
They literally tried to sell us on Rey Mysterio losing an eye, and it was clearly a ping pong ball in his mask. And then Seth started vomiting. Because imagine trying to explain that to a non-wrestling fan.
Hey, man, I don't know what to say at that one.
Speaking of Seth Rollins, okay. they've actually changed his ring name to Seth freaking Rollins because this company is actually run by toddlers.
Fair enough.
And so and also, did you notice multiple times throughout the night there was the same fucking ad for Snickers with Sheamus? Over and over and over again, to the point where I never want to see Sheamus.
I had the drinking game.
Was that a part of your drinking game?
That was a part of the drinking game. Every single time where I see some dumb shit, I had to take a shot.
Why?
That was it.
They can make more than one Snickers ad. It was the same one, like at least 80 times per segment with Sheamus and that Southern guy. And his wife that wanted to get her husband to get his ass kicked by Sheamus for some reason. Like, I never want to eat Snickers again. I never want to see Sheamus again because of this advertisement.
It's like looking at that hard limited commercial that would come on every 2 seconds.
Oh, yeah, that one too.
Like,
And also, back to Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs, their outfits were an ad sponsor for that drink. Because that's what wrestling is now. Sponsorships, ads, trade deals, and Saudi Arabia blood money.
Oh, no, that's... Bro.
I can't believe they actually had their Elimination Chamber pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
Just, my God. But, so, now we come to what, in my opinion, was the best thing the entire weekend. It was Seth freaking Rollins versus To Be Determined. It was a mystery opponent. So much of a mystery that the entire crowd was chanting Cody Rhodes. So then Cody Rhodes came out. Because there's no such thing as suspense or mystery now, because social media has also done a fair share in killing wrestling. But the crowd actually went nuts when Cody came out.
Oh, yeah, so did I.
And it was actually really cool to see him. And it was kind of hilarious that he came out to his AEW song and his AEW entrance. Because he kind of built his whole thing in AEW about how much he hated WWE, and now here he is once again in WWE. So, what did you think of this match?
The match itself?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people kept saying it was match of the year. I rewatched it. I think I might have passed out throughout the first half. I was able to catch the ending, but mid-match, I kind of blacked out. So
probably because of however many shots you took every time you saw a Snickers commercial.
So
you were deceased by this point.
But I did see the second half highlights.
Yeah.
And by God, I picked the wrong night
to get
drink.
You picked the wrong night to get freaking crunk. Well, to be fair, if they would stop doing stupid things, you would be drinking less.
Fair enough.
Me personally, this is far from match of the year. This is far from match of the year. Match of the weekend, abso-freaking-lutely, because there's literally nothing else to compare it to.
I mean, unless you count ROH.
Well, yeah. Or NXT 2.0.
I knew I forgot.
Yeah, there was an NXT show. We can't even call it TakeOver anymore because they killed that.
Damn it.
So I thought this was a really good match. It was basic. It was simple. You had the returning former WWE guy, his first match in several years, going up against a heel, and it was a simple babyface versus heel match, and it was really good. There wasn't anything, again, it wasn't super complex, it wasn't overcomplicated, it wasn't overbooked, it was just two guys having a wrestling match. Which, if two guys just having a standard wrestling match is the best thing we can say about WrestleMania, that's a bit of a problem.
Yeah, that's...
But what I will say, a couple things. What is Damian Priest going to do now since Cody Rhodes is back in WWE using his finishing move?
We was actually talking about that. It was like, huh.
Yeah, he's gonna have to find. They're gonna have to do rock paper scissors over who gets Crossroads.
Unless Damian goes and does the Razor's Edge. He went to pay tribute to Scott Hall. Rest in peace, by the way.
They might do that, but that might be a little too much. But I mean, or they could just have two people doing a rolling cutter. I don't know. But I very much did enjoy the tribute to Dusty Rhodes. And I love... We don't get this kind of a finish enough in wrestling. Usually someone kicks out of your finishing move and, oh my god, I've laid all my cards on the table. What could I possibly do now? Oh god, he rolled me up and I lost. This is the first time I've seen in a while someone kick out of someone's move so they get pissed off and hit their move over and over and over and over again until the guy stops getting back up. We need more stuff like that.
Please.
Because it makes sense. Because, like, if someone kicks out of your move, your ultimate move, then do that move again. But yeah, this was simple and basic, but it was really good. And I very much enjoyed the entire match. And I also think, what does Randy Orton think about someone else using a cutter? And that Cody cutter, though, was beautiful. It was perfect. Because, not gonna lie, the last couple times I've seen Cody try that move, it looked fugly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But, again, this was the highlight of the night. And at this point, like, I didn't really care for the Bianca Belair match, but I was happy that Bianca won.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a good match, so at this point, 2 good things for night 1.
So far.
Or should I say WrestleMania Saturday? Also, real quick, okay, so when they renamed Backlash to WrestleMania Backlash, I jokingly said, what if they just started naming all of their shows WrestleMania whatever?
Why not?
Then they went and named the Raw before WrestleMania, WrestleMania Raw, and then they named SmackDown WrestleMania SmackDown. WWE, I was joking. Mm-hmm. I did not actually... They're going to rename the entire company WrestleMania WWE. It's going to be WWE. And I'm going to want to die. But speaking of making me want to die... Speaking of making me want to die... This next match. Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. And funnily enough, a virus and threat protection thing just popped up on my computer because this match was cancer.
Perfect timing, actually.
What were your thoughts and analysis of this award-winning 5 stars in the Tokyo Dome matchup?
Oh my god, is that 5 stars for this match?
Negative 5 stars.
Negative 5? I think that's a bit of a stretch. That's actually too nice for me, because it's like...
Why is Ronda here?
Ronda! Why did Ronda win the Rumble if she was going to lose tonight? And from the dirt, we've recently found out that Ronda's promo work needs a little bit more work. I'm like, then what was the point of her winning the Rumble? It made no sense.
The second she walked out at the Rumble, I died laughing because I immediately knew she's winning the Rumble. And then she threw the worst punches and knees I've ever seen in my life. And then she had a weird tag match where one of her arms was tied behind her back for some reason.
Oh.
And then this.
This was just...
This was not awful. Very good. This was awful. It was clunky. It was weird. They never got into that third gear. They just were stalling. Remember when they had that awesome match at Survivor Series that ended via disqualification? This is the second time tonight. I was like, remember when Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch had an awesome match that ended via DQ?
Mm-hmm.
What is with this company and disqualifications?
I'm assuming that was supposed to just lead to an awesome-ass rematch, but we never get it.
Yeah, we... And then Charlotte, for the love of God.
If she had won less championships, I wouldn't be half as mad at the character.
If she didn't sound like a robot. Honestly, these are the 2 most boring, monotone human beings I've ever had the displeasure of listening to. Like Charlotte, all of Charlotte's promos are, I'm the queen!
Every guy wants to be with me.
Every guy! That's every Charlotte promo. All of them. It's all enunciation, but it's monotone. It is the worst.
For no reason. Like...
And Ronda just always sounds bored.
Yep.
But, my God. Charlotte, retire the moonsault. Please.
Then what? She's completely Ric Flair.
That double, especially the double moonsault. Every once in a while, whenever the planets align, she can hit a semi-decent looking moonsault.
Mm-hmm.
But since her boyfriend, Andrade, does a really cool looking double moonsault where they move out of the way, he lands on his feet and he does a standing moonsault, and it looks really cool, Charlotte's like, I can do that too!
I mean, she gotta pay homage to somebody.
And
why not Andrade?
Every time she's done it, it has looked so terrible. And this is the worst looking one I've ever seen. This was the worst. I don't think I've ever seen a worse looking moonsault. Just, my God. And then the finish of this match.
Don't even get me started on the finish. Like, I seen that. I'm like, hold up, time out. What? I know I'm like 60% drunk, but I know my words exactly. I know she didn't just lose to her big boots.
I know I'm 60% drunk, but bro. First, Charlotte almost murdered the referee, Charles Robinson, with that spear. He almost broke his neck on the ropes. And then Ronda gets Charlotte in a... First off, it was kind of hilarious that she had her in a pinfall next to the ropes, and Charlotte grabbed the ropes, and Ronda, she was like, but it was a 3! And everyone's like, her foot was in the ropes. Because Ronda's not actually a wrestler, so she doesn't know how wrestling works. It made sense kayfabe-wise, but it also makes too much sense real-life-wise to the point where it's funny.
Wow.
And then she made Charlotte tap because the ref was down. She was like, I won! Yay! I won! Yay! And then she took a god-awful bump off of a crappy-looking big boot and lost.
How do you get out of the figure 8 and still lose?
Yeah! Because I'm Ronda Rousey. And I should not have come back.
Wow.
And then she kept, like, repeating over and over, you tapped out. You tapped out. With that exact level of delivery. You tapped out. You tapped out.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my wingtips are angry. This sucked. What a waste of a Rumble win.
Was that by far the worst Rumble win going into WrestleMania this year? Because I'm like, hold on.
This entire road to WrestleMania this year has been just garbage. Because the Royal Rumble was awful. And then Elimination Chamber was but it was in Saudi Arabia, so it was like, And also Brock Lesnar killed everyone. Yay. And now this. And then we close with the Stone Cold Steve Austin segment, the Kevin Owens show, the KO show, that devolved into a match. And watching Stone Cold just walk around the ring and just do a few moves, it was sad, honestly.
Much better than the women's title match, I'll give you that. I'll give him that.
That
actually made up for the women's title match. Because I was expecting that to main event.
Listen, I agree, but, like, if you are in a title match and you're an actual, like, athlete and you have won, like, 100 championships and your name is Charlotte Flair, the Queen, and your match is worse than a guy who hasn't wrestled a single match since 2003 and has spinal stenosis, you might want to reevaluate a few things.
Like,
Although I put a lot of the blame on that on Ronda Rousey. Because she sucks. But, again, like, I don't know. This was just...
What did you really expect?
I mean, it was... Kevin Owens was basically trying to wrestle a statue because Stone Cold couldn't really bump or do anything because of his neck.
Yep.
And it was basically just Kevin Owens running into punches and bumping off of tables because he was the one. It was obviously, I'll take all the bumps, I'll do a few gentle moves to you, and that'll be it. But at least we got to see a decent stunner. Because Kevin Owens' stunner is awful, and at least Stone Cold can still do a decent stunner.
I don't even know why they even...
Why they bothered?
Why would you even bother having Kevin Owens use the stunner? It's not his move.
I know, and it looks terrible. Like, there was one time, like, he had an arm injury, and he did a one-arm stunner, and it actually looked better than all of the other stunners he had ever done. And then he just started... I missed the pop-up powerbomb being his finish.
Have the Codebreaker be his finish.
Yeah. Or something, I don't know. Just, why the stunner? Or at least, if it was the stunner... Because the problem is, the reason why it works with Stone Cold is because Stone Cold always gets the jaw underneath like on top of the shoulder. Because, you know, that's how it pops into the jaw.
Exactly.
Kevin Owens, he gives them a stunner to his bicep. That wouldn't be a problem if Kevin Owens, you know, had biceps. But he kind of doesn't, because he's kind of a thick boy. I'm trying to be nice about this because I like the guy. But you know what I mean.
I know.
He doesn't have the guns to do a decent stunner. He never gets it on the shoulder. It's always on the biceps that he doesn't have.
I fucking quit.
You know what I mean. So, then Stone Cold Steve Austin, this 50-year-old who's been retired since 2003 and has spinal stenosis, pinned Kevin Owens clean.
Wow.
If I was Kevin Owens, I would just quit. He re-signed for more years on his contract to this company, and this is what he gets. He doesn't even just lose clean. He loses clean to a guy who can do his finishing move better than he can.
Yeah.
Just, why, Owens, why? That's all I could think. So, alright, so that's pretty much all we have to say for WrestleMania Night 1. So on a scale of 1 to 10, and you can even goes like 0 out of 10 if you want, what would you give WrestleMania Night 1 for WrestleMania 38?
Shit. For Night 1, I'll give it a solid 6.
6 out of 10?
Only because of Cody and Seth.
I mean, they did have a really good match. I'm going to go a little bit lower. I mean, I loved the Cody-Seth match, but it was a very basic match, but it was still really good. And I loved that Bianca Belair won, even though she almost lost an eye. I'm going 3 out of 10 for Night 1. I was thinking 2 out of 10, but I feel like that was a little too harsh, because there was some good stuff here and there. Not everything was just objectively just awful. There was some stuff to enjoy on Night 1.
Mm-hmm.
So, alright, you give Night 1 a 6 out of 10, which I think is very generous. And me being generous, I'm giving it a 3 out of 10.
Yeah.
And now, oh my god.
Now we go to Night 2.
We have Night 2. Do you remember how last year, Night 1 of WrestleMania was actually really good, and Night 2 was not as good, but it was still alright?
Mm-hmm.
Similar story here. Except, Night 1 of WrestleMania 38 was, at least in my opinion, not that great. Night 2 was the fucking worst. Like, not even joking, Night 2 is one of the worst wrestling shows I've ever watched. It got embarrassing after a while. And not even like one of the worst WrestleManias I've ever seen. Not even one of the worst wrestling shows I've ever seen. One of the worst shows, period, that I've ever seen. Like, if I had to choose, I would genuinely rather watch The Room, unironically, over Night 2.
Wow.
It was that bad. Like, there was one good thing, and even it had an iffy finish, and we'll get to that. But yeah, God. We start off... you can't. How obviously is it that my soul is deflating talking about night 2? Tisk, tisk, tisk. I agree.
Just my brain just cannot function right now talking about night 2. Can't do it.
Out of all the times that I've made this man say I quit over the past couple of years, how often is it that an entire wrestling show throughout the night just makes you say I quit over and over?
I quit. Just it's the perfect words to describe it. Like, I'm done.
Like, even the first match, which the crowd was into, which was a triple threat tag team match for the Raw tag team titles. It was RK Bro versus the Street Profits versus Alpha Academy. This was alright, but it's every other triple threat tag match that we've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was the same. It was like on Raw, where RK Bro won the tag team titles back in another triple threat tag team match. And didn't they lose the tag team titles to Alpha Academy in another triple threat tag team match on Raw? Why are there so many triple threat tag team matches all of a sudden?
Because they have little to no tag team okay, they have little to no tag teams, period. Because they only have like 4 tag teams right now.
And that's being generous. And again, this was fine. It wasn't offensive. It wasn't bad. It's just everything we've seen before. What they gave us the moonsault RKO that looked awesome. We've never seen a moonsault RKO before. They gave that to us on Raw. Why would they not give that finish to us on this show?
I guess they needed the ratings at the time, which was a really bad idea.
It literally takes 10 seconds of thought. And also, I'm so tired of the diving to the outside on top of everyone, because it's so obvious that everyone is shuffling to one spot so they can catch whoever's diving so they don't die.
Make it less obvious.
It's so obvious. And especially when they were showing the replays in slow motion, so you can obviously see everyone slowly getting into position. Again, Kevin Dunn. You've been doing this for Christ knows how long, and you still suck at it. But and then there were a bunch of... I loved the Riddle RKO from the top rope. That was cool. And then Randy Orton caught the other guy with an RKO in midair, and they got the double pin. That was a fine finish. It was alright. The crowd loved it. You have anything else to say on this match?
Not really, because it's like RKO, 1, 2, 3. That's it. There was nothing really else special about this match.
We've seen it a trillion times already on Raw. But up next, oh my God, up next.
If I even hear you say Omos versus Lashley,
I was happy. I was very worried heading into this WrestleMania, but I was like, at least Bobby Lashley isn't going to be on the show, so he can survive getting his career ruined. And then, a couple of days before WrestleMania, WWE was like, we're going to have Bobby Lashley versus Omos. And I'm like, God, why? This poor bastard. And then we had the match. This match went 6 minutes. That's 6 minutes longer than it should have went.
The match that people on the internet are still saying, oh, no, this is officially better than Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan when he slammed him. Like, bro, what?
People cared when Hulk Hogan slammed Andre.
Exactly.
It might not have been a technical classic like Randy Savage and Steamboat, but at least people cared. Who cares about Omos? Or Omos, or Almost, or whatever his name is.
Yeah, I'm like this. It's like every Almost match. It's like the Black Great Khali.
Yeah, pretty much. At least Khali has a personality. I don't know what he's saying, but I know he likes to kiss people. Does Omos like to kiss people? Don't answer that.
I would not. No.
Don't answer that.
Don't even answer that.
Oh, please do the WWE. Please, if you do the almost kiss cam, I will forgive everything you've ever done.
No. Don't you fucking dare.
Am I giving them bad ideas?
Because now I'm going to have to blame him. if you...
Oh, God. This match was awful. This was so bad. Bobby tried, but almost... He's so green, it hurts. And that spear to the back. Like, what was he trying? Like, that move didn't even make sense.
Oh, man.
But what legitimately made me mad was when Omos picked up Bobby Lashley, drove him into the corner, and almost broke this man in half.
Damn.
Bobby Lashley is so lucky that his neck did not hit that corner. Because they showed a replay and the back of his head hit it on, like, the flat part. If he was, like, the back of his head or his neck was, like, just a little bit, like, in a different direction by, like, a centimeter, he could have paralyzed the man.
Wait a minute, wasn't he... No. Wasn't he supposed to be injured?
Well, he messed up his shoulder in the match with Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble because he landed awkwardly on a German suplex. So they wrote him out of TV by giving him a kayfabe injury at the Elimination Chamber.
That makes sense.
And then his first match back is with Omos, and Omos almost breaks him in half and his neck. Seriously, that charge into the corner was grotesque.
So he lost 2 WWE championships to a shitty finish.
I didn't even... The man... Oh my God.
Lashley, if you have any sense, go back to Impact, please.
Yeah, or go to AEW, or just New Japan, or something.
Don't go to AEW. That's going to make it worse.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because they already have a bunch of giant people that the problem with AEW, one of the problems with AEW, is they have too many people. Because they keep signing new people left and right. And they have such a...
have that good money, so...
Their roster is literally a bloated pimple. But, honestly, I got so mad during that corner charge, because he could have legitimately hurt Bobby Lashley really bad. Bobby's lucky he's walking right now. But thank God Bobby Lashley won.
Yeah.
That's the only thing good I will say about this match.
Fair enough.
But then came... Oh my God. I don't even want to talk about this next match. We had Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville.
I'm out. I'm done.
In a no-holds-barred match.
I almost wanted to leave. Just by him saying that. I almost wanted to leave.
Once again, if you had like one celebrity match, that would have been fine. They had 3 on both nights of this show. They had Logan Paul. They had Johnny Knoxville. And they had Pat McAfee, which at least Pat McAfee's good at wrestling.
Ow.
But, Jesus Christ, this was so hard to watch. This was so painful. It was stupid when he was in the Rumble. What did you think of this match, Jeffrey?
In my opinion, like, this could have gone a lot better. Like, at least when Pat McAfee faced off against Cole, it was somewhat decent. This was just, like, I can't even, it doesn't even, words cannot do this match justice. It can't.
It was a complete waste of time. They kept trying different hardcore stuff. Half of it didn't even work. Like, when Sami Zayn pulled out the table that had mousetraps on it, he kept pulling it towards the apron, and the apron flat, the cover thing, kept setting off the mousetraps as he was pulling it. That's why you hold the apron up while you're pulling it with one arm. You idiot. So when he actually went through the table with the mousetraps were already set off. And also, a mousetrap table? What?
This is what they put over Finn Balor and Ricochet, and those are supposed to be your mid-card champions.
Yes, also, by the way,
pathetic.
They had Logan Paul and Johnny Knoxville at WrestleMania, and honestly, Ricochet, his only appearance at WrestleMania was in the hype package for Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville. He's your Intercontinental Champion.
They shouldn't have given him the title if they was going to do that.
And on WrestleMania SmackDown, or whatever, the SmackDown before, he had 2 matches and lost them both in under, like, a couple minutes.
Wow.
And on Raw, he lost to Austin Theory in, like, 5 minutes. Your Intercontinental Champion, ladies and gentlemen. Why don't they just get rid of the belt? Don't even unify the belt with the U.S. title. Just take the Intercontinental title and the U.S. title and get rid of them. Just throw them away. Like, why even have them?
This would have been a good year to showcase the Intercontinental Championship, to pay tribute to Scott Hall, but they're just like, nope, fuck that shit. They're just going to take it off the show completely.
Like, imagine if, like, fine, have Sami Zayn be his, I don't know, like, his conspiracy theorist weird self, and have him win the Intercontinental title, and then build up Ricochet, have Ricochet basically do a lot of what Johnny Knoxville was doing, like putting his phone number on social media, a bunch of ridiculous stuff, just annoying him, or whatever, and then have an awesome match between Ricochet and Sami Zayn at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental title. It would have been a little stupid. It would have been very WWE cartoonish, but at least it would have been a thing. It wouldn't have been fucking Johnny Knoxville. And also, I've never watched Jackass. I have literally negative interest. It just sounds like the dumbest show. And oh god, and when Hornswoggle 2.0 crawled out from under the ring, I legit thought it was Hornswoggle at first. When he body slammed Sami Zayn, I legit had to pause the show and get up and walk around in my room to calm down.
Wow.
Like, if it's one of those moments where, like, you hope no one walks in while you're watching this because you'd be embarrassed. I would much rather my mom walk in on me watching porn than that. And then they brought out the low blow kick thing. And then the giant mousetrap. And then it didn't work. That was their big finish, and it botched. And then it's clearly flimsy. It almost hit Johnny Knoxville in the head because he's a fucking moron. And then Sami Zayn had to pretend that he couldn't get out of it. And then Johnny Knoxville won.
This could have went on the pre-show. Like, come on.
This was one of the worst things I have ever seen. Like, remember, it was embarrassing and emasculating watching Kevin Owens lose to Stone Cold Steve Austin. This, I legitimately never want to see Sami Zayn again after this, because he agreed to this. They came to him with this, and he said, "Okay, I'll do it." I will never be able to take Sami Zayn seriously ever again.
Honestly, I never did. Like, even when he was in NXT, we knew, like,
yeah,
Sami Zayn's character second that he signed with WWE. Oh yeah, his career's going down the drain. It's over.
Oh god, I mean, he's been doing nothing for the past couple of years except occasionally something funny, or at least what WWE thinks is funny, which is rarely ever funny unless you're like 3 years old or still a fetus. But this was a new low. This was legitimately embarrassing. Like, and I don't even feel sorry for the guy because, again, he agreed to it.
Yep.
So, like, what do you say? And then we go from this to a giant fatal 4-way tag team match for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles.
No comment. No comment.
I'm not even going to list off the teams because I hate every single person in this match. Like, especially Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan is the worst. I'm so over her. I'm so over it. Her gimmick is, ever since I was a little girl, I wanted to be in WWE. Also known as what every single person in the women's division ever says. Except it's even worse. And also, the stupid little eye droplet makeup things on her face is... I'm going to say it's stupid every time I see it. Because it is. And this was just a mindless spot fest. It was just like the Triple Threat Tag Team match, except it was sloppier. And filled with people that I can't stand. And by the way, Sasha Banks pinning Carmella to win these useless women's tag team titles. This is the first time Sasha Banks has ever won a WrestleMania match.
Oh, damn.
Her WrestleMania record is 1-7.
I thought it was one. Oh, yeah, this one. Ow.
She is literally the reverse Undertaker.
Well, I guess the streak's over now.
Streak's over! Streak's over!
Oh my god.
Also, Corey Graves masturbating whenever Carmella's on screen, I could do without. I would rather not.
Yeah.
You know they have a YouTube show together?
They do. You know what?
They do. And no one watches it. I wonder why. Also, why did Corey Graves dress up like the Riddler? At least on night one, he dressed up in like this weird green tux, and I was like, why is he trying to look like the Riddler? Oh, God. Oh, and we forgot to mention that at the beginning of... One of the best things at night two, like one of the only good things at night two, was Triple H coming out and leaving his boots in the ring. I mean, my heart goes out to Triple H. This poor guy. He had a hell of a career, and... we're lucky, honestly, we're lucky that he's still alive, because we almost lost the guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you get into, like, to heart failure, like, that's scary. The man's heart almost stopped pumping blood, and that's really scary, but we're glad you're still with us, Triple H.
Thank God.
And we're sorry that WWE literally took a nuclear bomb to your baby NXT. But up next, we actually have the first good thing of the night. Edge versus AJ Styles. Oh my god, this was like the one good thing on the show. What did you think of this match?
It was good, but it was not good enough to save it.
That's true. Right off the bat, Edge's entrance was so badass. I loved Edge's entrance.
They need to start saving these entrances for pay-per-views. Like, this is... I'm glad to say it. Yeah, he's selling himself. He's the benchmark of WWE. This confirms it now.
Yeah. And his new theme song, usually I'm not too crazy about them changing someone's theme song, but this theme, The Other Side by Alter Bridge, is fantastic. It's an awesome song.
That's not now. I love Alter Bridge.
Oh, yeah. And also, first thing I noticed was when AJ Styles walked out, he was already bleeding.
Was he?
Yeah, like the side of his head was bleeding. He pulled a Goldberg. He was bleeding before the match even started.
Damn.
Because while he was doing his entrance, he accidentally ran into part of the stage because the stage was set up for Edge's entrance. And he got so hyped up and was ready to do his entrance that he smacked Temple first into something.
Damn.
Watch where you're going, AJ. I know you're excited, but maybe take off the hoodie before you leave Gorilla.
Wow.
Because it was probably the hoodie that he could... Either that or his hair. His luscious locks. But yeah, this match was... Okay, the first 99% of this match I thought was fantastic. These two have chemistry. Their reversals were so slick. The storytelling was on point. The way AJ Styles sold, like, the knees to the gut off the Superman, the Springboard 450, he was selling his ass off on that. And the way Edge was going about the match, in a more methodical style to fit with this new character that he's portraying. I loved it. I loved it. With Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, that was the first time that last night felt like WrestleMania. This was the first time on night 2 where it felt like WrestleMania. And they still were just going at it. And then Damian Priest was there. For reasons.
I got to say that kind of ruined it, because they could have waited until the Raw after WrestleMania to pull this shit.
Well, you didn't like Damian Priest literally teleporting there?
No, because it was like... The match could have ended clean, and then that possibly could have set up a rematch. They could have waited to do that, but I guess they wanted to pull the trigger while
it's not so much that they had Damian Priest cost AJ the match. It's the way they did it was just so... Oh, he's here now! And the way... Because I was talking to Sean while the show was going on, and he described it as, like, in a video game, like an NPC just randomly appearing. And says nothing. No dialogue. Because he was just there. He wasn't even looking at AJ. He was just there, looking at, I don't know, the hard cam. And then Edge speared AJ in midair. And then that was it.
Man, that was probably the spot of the match right there. Where I'm like, my jaw dropped.
Yeah, like, really good match. Random finish. Super random finish.
Yeah, AJ needs to stop trying to set up that phenomenal for him too many times. Because I noticed that. Because it was like, hold up. How many times have he tried to set up that phenomenal for him in this match? Like,
but Jeffrey, when you are ready to do your finishing move, you have to do the setup so the crowd knows what you're doing. If you're AJ and you're doing the form, you have to play with your elbow pad. When you're Roman, you have to go, ooh ah. When you're going for the Superman punch, you have to jerk your fist off.
Damn.
That is what he does. Do not tell me that's not what he does. He has to get his fist all moist before he can put it... I'm going to stop.
Stop.
But yeah, at this point, this was like the one good thing on the show.
Oh, good God.
And even it had a random as fuck finish.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had Sheamus and Ridge Holland versus The New Day.
Wrong team won.
This was so pointless and random. This was so... We have to somehow get everyone on the card for WrestleMania.
They could have put this the Raw before Mania.
Don't you mean WrestleMania Raw?
Oh, Raw, WrestleMania Raw. But then what would we call post-WrestleMania Raw?
They're not actually calling it that, are they?
Oh, no.
I would not be surprised. What was main event this week? WrestleMania main event?
Good God.
I'm not upset at all. And also, let's address the elephant in the room. Butch. Why?
I give it 6 months.
What? Did you see the look on Pete Dunne's face his first appearance when they were like, "This is Butch"?
Oh, yeah.
That is a man who so badly cannot wait for his contract to end.
Mm-hmm. 6 months. Guaranteed. He's gone.
And when Michael Cole was like, "And this is Butch," I was like, "No, the fuck it is not." You were lying to me.
That's Pete Dunne.
And why does he dress up? Why does both him and Sheamus dress up like they're about to clean someone's chimney?
That is a good question. I never got that.
It doesn't look like an Irish pub fighter. It looks like a chimney sweeper. It looks like literally every male character in the Christmas Carol. That's what they look like.
Oh no.
Because this is what 70-whatever-year-old Vince McMahon thinks all Irish people look like.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then, oh my God, this was going well until the finish.
Like,
Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory. If this was the only celebrity match on the show, I would have been fine with it. Because Pat McAfee can, actually wrestle.
mm-hmm.
Oh no, and now my chat is going off. I'm going to have to mute that real quick. Or I can just do this. Alright. And no, I'm not editing any of that out because I'm tired. So what did you think of this match?
Boring. Should have been on the pre-show.
I mean, the crowd was into it But that's just because Pat McAfee's really likable. The crowd did not care at all about Austin Theory. But the guy's gimmick is, I take selfies, and that's it. Full stop. And I will say, the moonsault, like him shoving Pat McAfee off the ropes and him landing on his feet, and then him jumping up on the top rope doing a superplex, Shelton Benjamin style, that was cool. But it was like a TV match. It was very simple, like even more basic than the Cody Rhodes Seth Rollins match.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pat McAfee wins with a schoolboy. Wow.
Like, we haven't already seen that before. Like, I'm sure.
Literally every match on SmackDown a couple weeks ago ended via a roll-up or a count-out. We don't need to have roll-ups at WrestleMania. But I was still on board with it. And then things immediately nosedived for the worse. Because Vince McMahon got into the ring. This motherfucker's almost 80. And when he ripped his shirt off, my eyes stopped working because, good God, I do not ever want to see 80-year-old flabby muscles ever again.
One word. Steroids.
This is what happens when you took steroids a long time ago and now you're 80. He had so many stretch marks everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my God. He looked disgusting. He looked like his skin was falling off.
Probably was.
Like, this man better never ever use a vacuum cleaner because one wrong move and his skin's gonna get ripped off.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pat McAfee just bumped for Vince for like 3 minutes. And then numerous ball shots, and then Vince McMahon pinned Pat McAfee off of numerous nut shots.
Yeah.
Why? Like, this was painful.
Like I said, compared to day one, compared to this, day one was better.
Compared to this, day one was like a Mozart painting. Like, compared to this, night one was like freaking Money in the Bank 2011.
Oh, no.
Or like WrestleMania X7.
Damn.
But my God. And then things continued to deteriorate when Stone Cold Steve Austin came out, because apparently we're still in the 1990s. The Attitude Era is not a thing anymore. It's been multiple decades. Let it go.
I'm like this. Vince, will you ever learn to not trust a rattlesnake? Like, was you just expecting not to get stunned after drinking a beer like that?
And this stunner. Holy God, this stunner.
Oh, you saw the part where he botched it too. Like, oh shit.
Oh my God. He kicked him in the gut, and Vince McMahon almost fell out of the ring. Because he's almost 80. And then Stone Cold was like, get the fuck back over here. And basically gave him a lopsided RKO.
Damn.
And that was that. And then Stone Cold gave Pat McAfee a stunner. And then his brother came into the ring, and I'm mad that he didn't give his own brother a stunner. Oh wait, did his brother come out after Kevin Owens? It's bleeding together. I no longer care. Just, oh my God. What the hell was this? This was like a weird fever dream. This is like if I had a weird dream of... Because you know how dreams make no sense? This is like if I had a weird fever dream because I had too much weed or acid or meth or something, and I just had the most bizarre dream of all time. That's what this was, except it actually happened.
Yep.
God. Oh my God. What did you think was worse, this segment or the Johnny Knoxville stuff?
I think this one was kind of... Yeah, this one was way worse, because it was like... The mousetrap thing was entertainment, yes, but not something I would put on a WrestleMania product. This, however, kind of made...
This was, like... I will give the Johnny Knoxville nonsense this. There are people that would enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
There are people that would be like, that was a lot of fun to watch. That was funny.
Such good shit.
Perfect way to put it. But the Vince McMahon thing with Pat McAfee and Steve Austin, who was that for?
I guess that was just for Vince.
Like, I don't even think people in the nursing home would enjoy that. And then, mercifully, our main event, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar to unify the Universal and WWE titles. At this point, I just wanted the show to end. What did you think of this match?
Roman Reigns wins, LOL. Never thought I would say that.
This is the 845th time that we've had a Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar match. This is the 12th time that they've main evented WrestleMania together. They had the same match that they always have. Which, it was good, it's just we've seen this 100 times. And then Roman Reigns was like, I'm going to do what Bobby Lashley did to Omos, and I'm going to spear Brock Lesnar's kidneys.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brock Lesnar busted out the Kimura for reasons, and then Roman Reigns started selling his arm for reasons, and then immediately speared him and pinned him. Out of nowhere. Just abrupt.
Wow.
Like, I was at least thinking, do the Undertaker thing at WrestleMania 33 where you just spear him, he kicks out, spear him, he kicks out, just spear him over and over and over again until he doesn't get up. I would have accepted that.
I mean, he did win with one arm, so...
I mean, sure, but it just felt just as random as the Edge AJ Styles match.
Right.
Except we didn't have a random NPC just teleporting to the ringside area. I mean, again, it was fine. They work well together. It's just we've seen everything they can do, and the finish was just really random and sudden out of nowhere. It did not... The only time this show felt like WrestleMania was when it was Edge versus AJ.
Right.
And my God, when the ring announcer was like, this is the biggest WrestleMania match of all time! I wanted to shoot my TV.
No, it's not.
Oh my God. No.
WrestleMania 28 was better than this.
Oh my
and
God.
it was only one night.
It was back when it was once in a lifetime before they lied to us at WrestleMania 29.
End of an era, once in a lifetime. You're never going to get that again.
This, I guarantee you, this is not the last time we've seen a match between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar.
Oh, fun fact about that. They main evented two different WrestleManias for both of those titles that Roman Reigns now holds.
Yeah. Their WrestleMania 31 match was really good. WrestleMania 34 match was awful. This was in the middle, I guess.
By far the worst. By far the worst.
But, there's always, WrestleMania 48, 41. And they're going to have another match. They're going to have another instant classic at WrestleMania 43. Oh, and don't forget, there's always WrestleMania 47. I do think WrestleMania 52 will be the last one, though.
Yeah, and they're just going to retire after that.
No, they're going to keep wrestling each other until they're both dead. If one of them dies, they're just going to dig up their corpse and wrestle that. WrestleMania 60, where you at? Jesus Christ.
Are we even going to be alive for WrestleMania 60?
I hope not. God, after watching this show, I hope not.
Oh,
I have doubts that this company's going to make it to WrestleMania 50. Because, my God, this show was limping to the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
This show was, at least Night 1 had some good things. Night 2 was like a limping dog begging you to just shoot it and get it over with.
Mm-hmm.
So, with all that said, once again, 0 to 10. What would you give Night 2 of WrestleMania?
4.
4 out of 10? Bret Hart certified 4 out of 10?
Mm-hmm.
This show sucked. It was awful. The one good thing on it, even that had a bad finish. And I just felt like this was a complete waste of time. Like, just this whole thing, from day one, literally the pay-per-view day one, to this, it has just sucked and felt like a waste of time.
Don't worry, we'll have Summer. Oh, right, SummerSlam. Duh.
And WrestleMania Backlash. Actually, you said it wrong. It's going to be WrestleMania SummerSlam.
Oh, right. Yeah, WrestleMania SummerSlam, WrestleMania Money in the Bank.
And next year it's going to be WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
This show was awful. This is legitimately one of the worst things I've ever watched. I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm not even exaggerating. This was legitimately terrible. I'm giving Night 2 a 0 out of 10.
Damn.
Even the one good thing had a dumb finish. Like, what more can you say?
Yep. Nothing more.
And it was so bad that it even made me hate Night 1 more. Like, it ruined Night 1 for me, and Night 1 wasn't even that particularly good in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this was the most empty, lifeless, soulless, going through the motions WrestleMania I've ever watched.
Shoot, WrestleMania 2 years ago did better.
I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. I would rather watch WrestleMania 36 with no fans again. Because at least in that show, things were accomplished.
Exactly.
Like, things made sense. You didn't have Vince McMahon wrestling anyone.
At the age of 75.
Oh, Jesus Christ. This show was bad. This is one of the worst WrestleManias ever. Like, it's up there, ladies and gentlemen. It is up there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, overall, I guess, so I gave Night 1 a 3 out of 10, and I gave Night 2 a 0 out of 10. So I guess in the middle of that would be a 1.5 out of 10.
I guess I give mine a solid 5.
Solid 5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Skip this show if you haven't already seen it. Save your sanity. And, again, thank you so much for listening to us review WrestleMania 38. Thank you so much, Jeffrey, for joining. Go subscribe to Shock Nation Wrestling and follow him on Facebook.
Thank you.
And like, comment, subscribe. Also, go subscribe to the Court Martial Podcast, because they are also going to have their review for WrestleMania 38 both nights. And just a spoiler, Skylar did not like the show. Sean hated it more than I did. And I gave Night 2 a 0. What does that tell you?
Damn.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and all of that fun stuff. And I will see you guys next time. Good night, everybody.